Now, the great thing about Git is that people can work in parallel on the same project. But despite your best efforts, it's very likely that you're going to end up stepping on somebody else's toes. Now, Git is pretty good at avoiding this. You can normally edit the same text file at the same time, so long as you're working at different bits of the file. But sometimes your changes are going to overlap. In Git, this is called a conflict, and Git offers a mechanism to resolve your overlapping changes.
So let's make a conflict on the last repository you played with in your pair. Remember, I'm collaborating with Jigsaw. I should say, it doesn't matter who is the owner and who is the collaborator per se for this example. The important thing is that we're just going to both make a change at the same time. So, join in. I'm going to start by going to the invited people's list as me, and I'm going to add someone to the invitation list. I'm going to add Pedro Horse. I'm going to save, and I'm going to commit. Added Pedro. I'm going to say commit, and I'm going to push to GitHub. All right, so I've made a commit. It's up on GitHub. It's now time to see, once it's done pushing, there we go. It's time to see what Jigsaw does. All right, so I'm now logged in as Jigsaw. And as Jigsaw, I'm going to go and add someone to my invite list without pulling. So I haven't synchronized changes yet. Jigsaw decided to go ahead and invite Wei-Guan. So we save, head back to GitHub desktop, and of course we can commit this, right? This works because we're committing locally. So I've decided to add Jigsaw, rather has decided to add Wei-Guan. Commit. All right, now let's see what happens when I try to push to GitHub. You see, there are newer commits on the remote. Desktop is unable to push commits because there are commits on the remote that are not present on your local branch. Fetch these new commits before pushing in order to reconcile them with your local commits. So we have to fetch. Remember, fetch compares two repositories. So we have to fetch before we can try to push. Okay, and now you see there are two arrows. There's one up, one down. So Git has detected that your changes overlap with the changes in the remote repository, and you're going to have to resolve this first. The way that we do that is that we have to pull the changes from GitHub, merge them into our copy, and then push that back to GitHub. That's how we resolve merges. All right, so Jigsaw has to pull. So we click up here. And now it tells us that there are conflicts. Here they are in invite.txt. And if you've got GitHub desktop set up, it'll automatically have a button that will allow you to open up this text file in your chosen text editor. You can configure this. I'm going to open it up in Atom, and let's have a look what this looks like. So if you use something like Atom, you'll see there's some nice color coding. If you don't use Atom, then it will look something a little bit more like this without the automatic color coding. Let's have a look. So you see we have Chris, John, and Elaine. That's the same on both Jigsaw's copy and the one on GitHub. And then here you have the two differences. And you have these three extra lines of content. You have this lines with the head, and then you've got a load of equal signs, and then a load of arrows going in the opposite direction. The first section between head and the row of equal signs is what's on your computer. In this case, what's on Jigsaw's computer, on Jigsaw's repository. The second piece between the equal sign and the row of arrows is what's on the GitHub remote repository, along with the commit ID. Your job is to resolve this on your computer. So Jigsaw has to choose. What's he going to do? Is he going to get rid of one or the other, or is he just going to put both on the list? And that's maybe what you want. So you can do that just by editing this as a text file. So you just get rid of the extra bits of text and you can go ahead and save. As I said, Atom has a bit of built-in stuff here, and so you can use these buttons that it automatically puts in to choose one or the other if you want to do that, and it does the formatting for you. Of course, in this case, it loses Pedro. So I'm going to do it this way, and that's fine. The idea is just that Jigsaw has to edit the text file manually, remove those get messages, and change invite text to be whatever Jigsaw wants it to be. And then, once it's solved, then Jigsaw can go ahead. You see, it says no conflicts remaining. Jigsaw can go ahead and commit the merge. And once the merge is committed, it can of course be pushed. And now I'm going to go back out of Jigsaw and back to me. Okay, so I'm back as me. I'm going to fetch. Remember, fetch compares repositories. There's a change, Paul Origin. All right, so now I'm going to look at my copy of the invite list. And there it is. Wagon and Pedro Horse have both been added. Okay, so if you haven't done already, now is the time to try this out. And then afterwards, I want you to swap roles.
So if I can offer one piece of advice, despite Git's useful conflict resolution tools, dealing with conflicts is still slow and you can still make mistakes. By committing little and often, you can reduce the chances of having merge conflicts.